Daniela? There it is. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Sage Live. For the YouTube, we are doing the October 2023 Sage Internships. My name is Gianpaolo Carosi. I'm at Lawrence Livermore National Lab. I'm a particle physicist here. And joining me here are a number of Sage volunteers from a number of different labs around the US. So good morning, everybody, and welcome. I'm going to start with talk about Sage Journey and what that's about, and Sage Live, how Sage Live, which is what we're doing right now, fits into that. So Sage Journey is a program whose mission is really to inspire and encourage the students to explore STEM careers for your future. We do this by offering, of course, the summer camps that a number of you probably have participated in. But in addition, we have paid internships that are related to that, as well as professional growth sessions, these Sage Live events, and opportunities to connect with professionals who care about you and your future. I mean, a unique thing about the Sage program is that this is a large community that is here to help you beyond just the summer camps that you guys participate in throughout your academic career, and hopefully into jobs in the National Lab if that's something you guys decide you're interested in. So Sage Live is part of that Sage Journey. This is the online gathering of students who have attended the summer camps and are curious about the next steps in the Sage Journey. It's time to reconnect with the volunteers. We have a number of volunteers online, and it's held monthly via Zoom between August and May. The topics are going to be covered that are relevant to your journey. That includes career-related, such as designing your life, resume workshops, how to prepare for interviews. But we'll also talk about technical kind of cool stuff as well, like quantum computing, AI, machine learning, what those really mean, and how those might fit into your careers in the future. So one of the overriding mindsets we want to push is, what we're doing now can really help you in the future. Try to keep you guys engaged. If you guys have any questions, we're here to support your guys' journey. All right, so let's start with some slides. Do we have the slides up? We're going to start today by talking about the internship program and opportunities that we have throughout the national labs for internships. So first, why would you want to complete an internship? Maybe this is a good opportunity for people to put something in the chat. Why would you think you'd want to complete an internship? Why would that be something that you're interested in? And we'll also cover how high school and college programs at the national labs really help out. So I did several internships when I was an undergraduate and throughout graduate school, actually. All right, so we see some good answers here. The gain experience for possible career paths. Excellent. Experience is a huge thing. Resume building, building connections. Networking is hugely valuable for this. Experience, yeah, that's a good one. Finding mentors in the field, experiencing career paths. That's a fantastic answer. Meeting people, figuring out if you enjoy the field. That's a super important one. And I'll give you an example from my experience. I did several internships that were okay. I got stuff out of it, but I also learned that wasn't the field that I wanted to get into. And so it allows you to kind of, in a relatively short amount of time, dip your toe into something that you want to try out, and then decide, if it is or is not really what you want to do. So these are all great answers, and there's a number of high school and college programs at the national labs. What we're going to go through today is the national labs themselves. We'll specifically talk about their individual program. As a reminder, there's 17 national labs throughout the US. We're all over the US. And we'll talk about specific ones to the national labs, but there's also Department of Energy funded ones that are more generic and general that you can use and apply to different labs. You can apply to those general programs, and then you can go and use them at different labs. So we'll cover those as well, and we'll try to answer as many of the questions as we can today. So let's see. Let's start with any quick questions right now on internships, or why you want to complete an internship, and then we can go on to the individual ones. Oh, okay. Any comments or questions from maybe the other volunteers before we get into the individual labs?
GP, this is Anna. I think
Yeah, hey,
that
Anna. So Anna, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, my name is Ana Llobet, and I'm a volunteer from Los Alamos National Lab in New Mexico. And we just finished the eclipse, so I'm very excited to still have my glasses. I run in, I'm on my PJs.
Oh, nice, nice. Welcome. Thanks for joining.
Because we were
You look super
outside.
comfortable.
And cozy. I wanted to say that internships are, whether it is a national lab or elsewhere, are very important for you to figure out if what you think about the field is what it actually is. Remember, when you go to college and choose a career, you might be doing that all day long, day in and day out. So you better enjoy. Sometimes we have an idealized idea of a certain profession, like astronomy or whatever, right? And it's the field is very different than what we think it is. So whether it is at a national lab or elsewhere, always try new things. And also there are many fields that we don't learn about them when we are in school. So I think it's a great opportunity for everyone to figure out if that's the place we want to spend the rest of our life and the kind of job we're going to be doing the rest of our life.
That's a great point, Anna. Thank you. I mean, just to dovetail on that, one of the goals of SAGE is to try to challenge people's preconceived notions of what they think might be going on, and actually try to immerse people in the actual work, because it may be completely different than what you might have imagined, and introduce you to new stuff like that. And so that's a really good point, Anna. Thank you for making that. Anybody else from our volunteers want to add to that, perhaps? Okay, well then let's go ahead and get started with the some more details on completing internship. I think a number of these, you guys are very sharp. You guys caught on a couple of these. One of the main reasons to complete an internship is to actually work with STEM professionals, scientists, engineers, get to know upfront, day to day, what they're doing, immerse yourself. One thing I really want to point out on all these internships is that you shouldn't actually know much about the field that you're going into. You should be able to jump right in, and everybody knows that this is something you're going to be learning on the fly. This is one of the reasons to have the internship. So there's what I would just encourage you, if it's some field that just sounds interesting, you don't know anything about it, but that's totally fine. It's not like it's different than if you apply for a job later where they're trying to match a skill set with what you want to do. The internship is really about trying to teach you about the process, so you don't have to go in there assuming you have any expertise in that particular field. So working with STEM professionals, scientists, and engineers, you want to build up your network. Learning how to network, learning how to just talk to everybody and learn about what you want to do. Most of the time throughout this field, I found everybody is really helpful in terms of just, especially if they want to talk about their science. Like they will talk about their science forever. You'll learn about really cutting edge innovation and research. There's things that I never thought I'd see before when I was an intern, like very cool stuff on lasers and other things that I didn't realize I'd have access to even as an intern. You can increase awareness of potential majors, research careers, as we covered. You can learn about entirely new fields that you might not have known existed. Using equipment, workspaces, laboratories. One of the unique features about doing internships at the national labs versus at your university is that there's very unique sets of equipment that you couldn't be able to get at a university. You can also gain understanding of what it really takes to be in a STEM career, especially when you follow along with your mentors. They can really tell you what their lives are like, and gives you a better appreciation of that. And as we covered earlier, it allows you to better understanding of what you don't like. It's better to spend a few months on something and realize, okay, maybe this isn't the career path for me. So you can really find the thing that makes you inspired and find a permanent career path. That increases your social capital. You'll meet a ton of other interns. I'm still in touch with friends of mine that I met when I was an undergraduate, and that was over 20 years ago. So you make a tremendous kind of lifelong network. It's one of those fun things where you're doing science together over summer. There's usually a lot of fun summer activities that are organized through the various institutions. I know at our lab, and I think all the labs here, they have a lot of very cool social events that they put together for the interns. in some sense, it's almost like an extended summer camp at some level, with a lot more reach and people that you can talk with. Anybody else from the cohort here want to add to that?
GP, this is Loy.
Yeah, Louis.
Yes. Hi, everyone. GP, I realize there's some very young high school students here. And I've heard this question. It seems very basic, but it's important. What is an internship? Is it like in the summer? Is it 10 weeks? Is it 1 week? Is it working all day from 8 to 5? What is it generally?
Yes.
Because
Thank
we
you,
talked
Louis.
about the benefit, but what is it?
Of course. Let's go into that a little more detail then. So yes, I'll give an example for one of my summer students that I had here as an intern. Primarily, interns are usually summer programs. There are sometimes ones that happen during the school year as well, but primarily they're summer programs. They can range between 8 to 10 to 12 weeks, depending on the program itself. And usually they cover any type of science you want to do at the national labs. And usually what you'll do is it's usually a 9 to 5 kind of the way we've run it here at Livermore is they've primarily been in person. During the pandemic, we had some virtual ones as well that were focused on, teaching the students how to do simulations because we were constrained by that. I'll give you an example from, I had a summer student here. She was helping me on a dark matter experiment. This is Chloe Cisneros, who's a undergraduate at UC Berkeley. She came out in May, late May, as the school year wrapped up there, and worked with us for about 12 weeks, actually. She had a relatively long internship. She was paid every 2 weeks, like you would for any other kind of job, biweekly. It was a stipend, so it's not a huge amount of pay, but it's enough to usually cover rent and board. She was at this time renting in an apartment at UC Berkeley and commuting down to Livermore, about 40 minutes, and then working all day here. And so she would work with me during the day. The experiment that she was working on was we have a microwave cavity. It's simply kind of a copper box that has a resonator. It's a resonator, and she was characterizing that and running electromagnetic simulations. And if that sounds like a lot of work, she spent a good couple of weeks learning how to run those, writing Python code and actually analyzing the results. Usually what we try to do is have a very self-contained project. So her project was to try to figure out a new thermal model for our microwave cavity in order to be able to increase its performance. So she ran some simulations and she's actually measured some results, got some nice results, and then had a poster session at the end and wrote a short 2-page report on it. So that was her summer internship, basically. A nice contained project is usually the optimal thing, where you can then have that, it's a nice feature on your resume. She met a lot of other people here. She was an ROTC student, so she was also being supported for the military programs here. And so there's a lot of overlap. That's just one example. There's a number of other examples, but usually it is a summer working program. Now, I'm happy if others would dovetail. Yeah, Anna.
Yeah, I want to add that some of our students, in fact, started as a summer student and they continue it as a year-long student, as much or as little as you're available. That gives you, that often here in Los Alamos, we don't have a university very close by. Well, we have UNMLA, which has some limited college classes, but most of our students go elsewhere in New Mexico, right? And we are far in the middle of nowhere. So those students that could continue to work remotely, like sometimes engineering students or astronomy or things that are more calculations or things like that, they spend, they continue to work as interns throughout the year, as much or as little. It's a commitment. It's like a little job, like 10 hours or 20 hours, depending on what you and your mentor decide.
Yes, and then we have a lot of people that are in high school right now. Not all the programs have high school level programs. Most of them are geared towards undergraduates, but we will cover the high school programs that are at the national labs. But my experience has mostly been with undergraduates. We've had a lot of summer undergraduates here, and yeah, like Anna says, it's usually structured kind of like a 9 to 5 job during the summer. My student would come out, we'd meet. She would either work on her simulations or go into the lab. But then we'd also have the summer events that she would attend. It's a little more relaxed. We want them really to learn. So it's not like we give you just a small task to do. The internships, in my opinion, are a chance for both the student to develop a project kind of with their mentor, but also learn about the field as well. Okay, any other comments from Loy or Danielle, anybody, or from the other national labs? Okay, and you do get paid, yes, as Anna mentioned, you do get paid, and you know, it's certainly enough to get by over summer. So, and there's usually a lot of subsidized housing around, or rooms that people can rent, local, at least local to Livermore. Other labs, I'm sure, have similar programs. Okay. Next steps. Any questions? Any? Move on to the slides. Danielle, if you want to share.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought I was sharing. Sorry.
No, Loy's gonna share because of
Loy's going to
my
share now.
contribution.
Thanks. Okay, thank you,
But
thank you,
yeah,
Loy.
you're there,
Appreciate
thank you.
that. Okay, so we did want to cover a little bit of advice. As finding internships is the challenge. One thing we really want to hammer home from this presentation here is that we are a resource for you. We're heavily involved in the SAGE program. You guys are part of SAGE. We want to be your advocate. So please, if you have any questions or anything like that on both applying to internships, finding an internship, we would like to match you up with interns, and that's that's something that's I think somewhat unique to SAGE. So one thing you might want to do on your end is to get a little organized. You might want to use a spreadsheet. So I use Google Drive a lot, so you can use Google Sheets or Excel or something like that, and to track each internship that you might be interested in. Things that you want to pay attention to. Are you eligible? A lot of that has to do with your age. Maybe it might have to do with there may be some grade requirements. It depends on the ones that you're applying to. And so I would just read the internship's eligibility requirements. Big important one is the application due dates. So that is, of course, when the rubber hits the road and you need to have your application turned in. So that's where you want to start working backwards and actually make sure that you have everything set up and that you have your application written up well ahead of then. And that's for both high school and undergraduate. When does the date of your program actually start? When do you need to be there? Are you able to make a commitment for that summer? Because you want to make sure that you are able to, if your family has set up a a summer trip to some other country, maybe it's not good to apply for that internship. So make sure that you can commit to it. Is it volunteer based, or is there pay? Are you gonna be paid? And what does it require? Do you need a number of recommendations? Is there an essay that you need? Do you need parent signature if you're in high school? Especially on the recommendation side, you'll probably want to find somebody to give you a recommendation and give them enough time to do that. And then you want to look at, is this something you want to do? Will it meet your goals and expectations? So it's never too early to kind of think about what you want to do long term and see how that might fit into it. And it doesn't have to be set in stone. You can always change your mind as you learn more, but going through that exercise is always good. Next slide. Okay, so as you apply, one thing you certainly want to do is find a teacher or a mentor who knows you, knows your strengths, is able to give you a recommendation, is able to do it in a timely fashion. You can always thank them later, but finding one or two of those is really worth your time early on. You want to take the time to write out any essays or short answer questions, and you have someone review them. Always try and request feedback from people whose opinion you respect. Make sure you respond promptly to emails about due dates. Due dates are, to give you an idea, a lot of the internships have a lot of applicants, and the due dates are really strict in order to do that. And I would apply to anything that interests you. So it does take a little bit of work, but it's something where you're at the stage now where you're exploring and you want to cast a wide net. I would not limit yourself too quickly yet. Okay, other comments from others here? I see Anna put some nice new skills. Other comments in the chat there. Yes, check your email often. That is a key thing. We still communicate mostly through email for these. So email is one thing I would just, a little recommendation is check your spam blockers, because a lot of times people automate a lot of these responses and they may accidentally go into your spam filter, and you don't want to lose a nice internship because, it was too aggressive. So check the spams, make sure that they're not getting lost in there. Okay. So we're going to do a little bit of a trivia thing next also. So as part of the labs, we wanted to keep this kind of fun. So I'm going to start with a little trivia about Lawrence Livermore National Lab, and people can put this in the chat, but we wanted to find out if people could guess what 2 Hollywood movies were filmed in part at Lawrence Livermore National Lab out here in the Bay Area. So let's put go ahead and take some guesses out there. Think about maybe they would definitely be science-based movies. I'll give you a little bit of hint there, but if you okay, we got a couple of Star Treks in there. Okay, what else we might have? Remember, this is 2 different films. So what's another one that might have been filmed here? Maybe Contact. We like that answer. That's a good one. I haven't seen that in a while. All right, anybody else want to put anything else in there? We got Men in Black. I like that one. That's a good one.
It's showing your age.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Oh boy, I just did a Halloween thing and we watched The Thing last night, and so I feel that one. Okay, any other guesses? No? Okay, let's go to the answer then. So we got a couple correct answers. First was Loy, you wanna?
Oh, sorry.
Nick, there you go. Yes, so the answer is actually, the first one was Tron, actually, in 1982. And then, of course, Star Trek Into Darkness. So congrats for the folks that picked Star Trek. So the Tron film, that's the original, the 1981 one, was shot on location at the lab's Magnetic Fusion Energy Computer Center, which is later known as NERSC, and the Shiva laser facility. And then if you see this picture here, that's the warp core in Star Trek Into Darkness. And that was filmed at the National Ignition Facility, which just recently it achieved ignition, actually got more energy out from a fusion shot than was put in. So that was a huge milestone. But yes, this is what the actual target chamber looks like. In some sense, it's kind of like a warp core. And for those that weren't born before Tron, go check it out. It's a nice, fun old film. I like the new one too as well, the legacy one. Okay, so thanks to everyone for participating in that. We're gonna move on to Livermore specific one. I'm gonna hand it over to my colleague at Livermore, Joanna Albala. Joanna, you want to take it away?
Well, hi everybody. I'm Joanna Albala. I'm the Science Education Program Manager at the Laboratory. And at this time, we don't have any high school internship programs, but we're actively working on that. So stay tuned. If they become available, we certainly will put that out to our alumni, and you can find more information on our website at education.llnl.gov. So here we just wanted to highlight some of the programs that we do have that you might be interested in, especially for our locals in California. We hold Science on Saturday. This is a month-long program in the month of February, which are free lectures given by LLNL scientists. Every Saturday in 2024, they'll be held at 10 a.m. on the campus of Las Positas College in Livermore. The lectures are also recorded and posted online. And if you're interested, you could just Google Science on Saturday and you'll find the link to where we have our lectures recorded and held on either YouTube or the lab's website. In addition, we host a number of summer workshops, one of which is highlighted here. This is our biotech summer experience. We also have another workshop called STEM with Smartphones. The biotech summer experience is a rather intensive program. It's a 2-week program for high school students age 16 and up. If you are 15 or older in high school, you can also apply for our Physics with Smartphones program. And this requires that you provide a high school transcript, a teacher letter of recommendation, and that you are a U.S. citizen. And applications for these programs are likely to be out in the March-April timeframe. And so you can look again on our website at education.llnl.gov for those opportunities. But the lab offers a number of internships at the undergraduate level and graduate level. So you can find those internships by these links. And again, these links and materials will be provided to you after this seminar today. So just to know that there are many that are sponsored by the laboratory. These are internally nomenclatured as internally sponsored internships, and that means the lab pays for them. We also have externally sponsored internships, which is where an external source, like, for example, the Department of Energy funds that internship, you apply through that program and get placed at the laboratory. So we have a number of different methods for doing an internship at the lab. And actually, you can just go to careers.llnl.gov. I'll put that in the chat in a minute, or GP can, and just go to the internships link and look what's available now, because internships at the lab for summer of 2024 have started to be posted already at the undergraduate and graduate level. There you go. Thank you, GP. So that's about all I have to say about the programs at Livermore for now. GP, do you have anything you'd like to add before we move on?
No, I mean, one thing we will talk at the end is about more about the external internships that are available to all the national labs. So we'll cover that a little more at the end. But we have several hundred students every summer, and we always try to have fun events with them. And they cover everything from bioscience to computing to physics, everything STEM related, engineering, and we'd love to see you here.
We had 900 interns at the lab.
900. Oh, pushing 1,000 now, so let's get there.
And several of those are still remote, right? So we understand that there's some people who can't leave the physical location they're in, but that shouldn't be a limiting factor to joining us for an internship. So with that, if you want to go to the next slide, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Faith Dukes from Berkeley Lab.
Joanna, I posted a question on the chat. I think that it might be important to define what's an undergraduate. For example, is a 12th grader raising first-year college student considered an undergraduate at Livermore or not?
No. So you have to be actually beyond enrolled, participating already in your first year as a freshman in college to be considered an undergraduate. And that is a pretty strict definition at the lab.
Yeah, so
I think we're working on that.
We need to pay attention because different labs have different definitions. That's why I wanted to make sure.
Right. So that's a great point, Anna, that as you're going through looking at the different labs, eligibility for what looks the same might be different. Thank you. That's a great point.
Yeah. So,
and just to answer the other question for science on Saturday, there's no application or reservation. You just show up to the Las Positas College and join us for the morning. It's about an hour presentation. And we also have some opportunities to interact with the scientists afterwards, and some tabling of local science activities and opportunities there before and after, as well as tours of the campuses after the presentation. Faith, take it away.
All right, thanks, Joanna. So hello, everybody. I'm Faith Dukes. I am Director of K-12 Programs here at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, a little bit a couple miles away from Lawrence Livermore. So we are also doing a number of programs at the laboratory that we call either camps or apprenticeships and internships. But mostly all of them are an opportunity for you to get to learn more about STEM fields. So we'll have, including SAGE, we'll have 4 high school programs this coming summer in 2024. The first one will be a quantum program. So if you think you might be interested in quantum computing, sensing, materials, learning about a rapidly changing and emerging research field that's very much interdisciplinary, which talks about everything from mathematics to physics to computing. This is a program that you don't need any prior knowledge about. It's just your interest and curiosity that we're looking for. you're able to do a 4-week experience at the lab. It's hybrid, so a couple of days will be online, a couple of days will be in person. We have our Berkeley Lab Director's Apprenticeship Program, which is a 6-week program you do as a cohort as well. It's introductions to coding, so Python and data science, as well as machine learning and plant biology that we do as a group. So you'll get technical skills in coding, as well as some wet lab techniques that you'll pick up on that we help train you in. And then we have a traditional 6-week internship that students can go on to, where students work directly with mentors to work on a specific project. We have a project booklet that comes out early next year that will list all of our projects and allow you to pick the ones that you'd like to work on. You write an essay towards those projects that you have picked. So for most of these programs, they are going to be in person or / hybrid. There are a few programs or projects that might be remote, but for the most part, we're looking for students to come on site. So we do ask that students reside closer to the Berkeley Lab location. You must be 16 years or older at the beginning of most of these programs. And while we really want to think about your curiosity, who your recommenders are and what they have to say about your work ethic or how you're interested in STEM, and we go from there. We definitely will have interviews for the Experiences in Research project and the apprenticeship program. We do have a number of other programs that are also not listed on here. So please feel free to check those out on k12education.lbl.gov. I want to say one quick thing about just applying to internships, and that's that a ton of people are applying to opportunities, and you may get accepted, which we want you to get accepted, and sometimes you may get a rejection. It does not mean that your application was not stellar. It does not mean that you weren't worthy of a spot. It just means that we can't take all of the wonderful applicants that have applied. So please keep that in mind when you are applying to internships or scholarships or anything else. There's no necessarily perfect application or perfect interview. It just means that we're just trying to match for the best cohort or for a good spectrum of people that we want to support and think will get the best or the most impact out of the program. So I want to also just make sure that you don't take that to your self-esteem or think that you're not worthy if you don't get an acceptance from any of these programs. And on to the next slide for college students. If you are in college starting, and so I'll say for Experiences in Research, we do accept 12th graders. So those who have just graduated from high school in our that program. Once you are in college and at least have one semester down as a freshman in either a 2 or 4-year university, you can go on to the internships that are supported by Berkeley Lab's Workforce Development and Education team. And they do a wonderful job of thinking about students from undergraduate to post-baccalaureate, graduate, and faculty internships. So you can find a lot of the information here that I've listed on the education.lbl.gov website. I'll put the link also in the chat. But they do a wonderful job of placing students directly with mentors. We have, as Joanna talked about, both DOE-funded internships, but we also have internally funded internships with specific areas. And so that's an opportunity where we definitely want you to follow up with us if you do happen to apply, and let us know that you're applying so that we can help with that process. And so with that, we'll go to Fermilab, which is also on our slides. I think that's the next one.
Faith, before we switch to Fermilab, there might be some questions about Berkeley programs, because I know many SLAC students are now Berkeley students after they moved on to college. So if you have any questions about what Faith just presented, please put them in the chat.
Oh, sure. For high school or for college?
Either one. And just a reminder to everyone, please let Faith or me know if you are interested in a Berkeley internship. As GP said earlier, we are here for you, and if you don't let us know, we can't help you. So let us know if you are interested and have applied. Okay, are there any questions? I can't see the chat right now, so Danny, let us know if there are any.
Sure. I see it says which disciplines are undergrad internships focused on. Basically, so Berkeley Lab is an interdisciplinary national research facility, which means we do 6 scientific main areas in everything from bioscience, computing science, energy and energy technologies, physical sciences, and biosciences. So we have a wide spectrum of disciplines that mentors can support. So it's more about same thing, just seeing, and I say this as there's a wide spectrum of things you can do across all of the national labs, especially those that support the DOE funded programs. So you can pretty much, I think, find most things that you'd like to do at one of the national labs. Great question. And our colleagues from Fermilab weren't able to make it today, but they also offer high school programs and undergraduate programs at their labs. And you'll be able to find information on the same page for Fermilab. So if you click on the high school tab, you'll be able to find programs that specifically support high school students. Fermilab, for those who might not know, is right outside of Chicago in Illinois. And you'll also be able to find their undergraduate programs. I think there might be a second slide on there. Nope. So you'll find out more information. And I'm going to answer one more question. Are the mentors just Berkeley based, or are they based throughout the SAGE program? For Berkeley Lab programs, those mentors are based at Berkeley Lab. If you are applying to any other program at any other national lab, those mentors would be based at their particular national lab. If you're interested in applying for Berkeley Lab's ENR program, when should you be on the lookout for more information? Late January, early February is when we tend to open all of our applications, and they will be found on our website, but there's also a link to sign up for our newsletter. We do not spam. We send out a newsletter once a month, and we tend to send out when applications open through that newsletter in there. Yes, and there are also, I'll say for that experiences in research program, we have I say STEM adjacent opportunities or STEM adjacent projects. So we not only offer students the opportunity to work directly with scientists, but also work with our communication staff, our creative services staff that's doing graphic design and marketing. Students on my team, I take interns, and they co-host our weekly STEM career talks throughout the summer, and that's their project, is they have to develop their own career talk at the end of the summer. So you can definitely have a number of things that happen for a lot of different spaces at the labs.
Yeah. If I could chime in real quick on this. So, we've covered labs in the Bay Area and in Chicago. I should mention that several internship programs, it depends on the program, sometimes are able to pay for travel. So for instance, a program at Chicago, if somebody is located in California, depending on the program, there was one for their quantum program that offered funds to be able to pay for them to travel out to Fermilab for the internship. So if you don't limit yourself to just things that are local, there are definitely opportunities if you want to travel elsewhere. I did an internship when I was an undergraduate all the way in New York, and it was fantastic. It allows you to kind of visit new places as well.
All right, and I think I'm passing it over to Los Alamos, Angelica.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name's Angelica Lopez. I work in the Student Programs Office at Los Alamos National Laboratory, and I am the program manager for our high school internships and our special programs, which are our externally funded programs that a few others have touched on, and we'll talk more about that towards the end. But we will start with a little trivia question. So in the chat, if you know what 2023 film is based on the scientific research conducted at Los Alamos National Laboratory.
Was that the one that starred Taylor Swift? No, that's a clue. No.
No, that's coming out now, I think. So.
Right.
Don't give it away, Loy.
Looks like people are familiar with this one in the chat. So we can go ahead and move on to the next slide. You were all correct. Oppenheimer was the film. If you have not seen it yet, I recommend it. It's very good. And then just a little backstory on here if you are not familiar. Robert Oppenheimer was instrumental to the success of the Manhattan Project, which was a top secret effort to build the atomic bomb to help bring end to World War II. So even today at the labs, we continue its groundbreaking scientific research and service with national security. And many people come out from all over the world to continue working on rewarding works such as the Manhattan Project.
Angelica, and I want to say that when the movie was being recorded, many of the scientists from the lab were extras.
Yes.
So when we watch the movie, we try to recognize our colleagues in some of the images, and the town was kind of blocked out, like parts of the town had kind of curtains, so we would not, we peeking around would not interfere with the main characters and things like that. But we have a lot of the structures that you see in the movie, like the Fuller Lodge and so on, are here. So if you ever come to New Mexico, let us know and we can show you around. And Oppenheimer's house is still there, and Beatty's house still there, and so on. So you can go and visit.
I'm coming.
I'm coming too.
Yeah, it was great that they used current structures in the film. So it's all, if you come visit, you can see everything that you saw in the film. All right, so a little bit about Los Alamos National Laboratory. We are located in Los Alamos, New Mexico, northern New Mexico. Our campus is in the Jemez Mountains, so it's very common to walk outside your building and see deer walking around. It's a very outdoorsy town, so if you enjoy hiking, biking, things like that, you will probably enjoy this area. Our internship program has grown a lot. This past year, we had over 2,200 students. And at the peak of the summer, we had over 1,800 students. And this ranges from high school all the way to PhD. So one of the great things about our program is a lot of times students will start in high school or as an undergrad, and they're going to continue on every year throughout their education. And you are compensated based off the number of credit hours that you have earned. So your pay will go up as you earn more credit hours. Our internships are mostly on-site or hybrid, but we do still have some that are fully virtual. And I'll start by going over our high school internship a little bit. So requirements, you do need to attend a high school in northern New Mexico, and you have to be senior standing. This means the spring semester of your junior year, you could apply for our summer internship. And if you're a current high school senior, you can apply during the school year. So our summer internships are full-time, and our year-round internships are part-time, so 20 hours a week. For the high school program, you do need to be at least 16 years of age and have a minimum of a 3.0 GPA. And then all employees do have to pass a drug test. And then here we have listed some of our requirements for the application. So cover letter, resume, unofficial transcript. I am your point of contact for the high school internship. So if you do put in an application, please reach out to me so I can be on the lookout, make sure you have everything you need uploaded. And then linked here, we'll have our project description book. We are in the middle of updating it, but this is going to be a good resource for you to see different types of projects that our high school interns are working on. So in our new project description book, we are going to separate it by non-technical and technical, so you can get an idea of what students are working on with their mentors. And then for our undergraduate internship, our point of contact is Sarah Hoffman, but you can also reach out to me if you have any questions. You can see the eligibility requirements are very similar to the high school requirements. One of the two differences between these programs is if you're applying to a high school internship, there's 2 applications. So right now our application is open for the school year and it will close December 31st. Our summer application for high school interns, so second semester of your junior year, that's going to open in January. And if you're applying to an undergraduate internship, so you're a current undergrad right now, that's open. It's only 1 application for our undergraduate interns. So if you're a current high school senior and you want to apply for next summer when you're going into your undergrad, you're going to apply to the internship application that's open right now for undergraduates. And that closes March 31st. So we have all the deadlines listed on our website for you. Our internship programs, all of them are mentor-led. So this means you're going to work closely with the mentor. Our mentors are going in and looking at your applications. They're reading your resumes and cover letters. They're reaching out to you to schedule interviews. So you want to make sure you're being really specific on those applications as to the career fields that you're interested in, because they're trying to find interns that meet the project needs that they're working on currently. So it's great to have a mentor that's going to be hands-on with you. This is a person that you'll be able to work with closely, ask questions. They want to make sure you're meeting your career goals. So make sure you're in great communication with them. One of the other nice things is, we mentioned earlier, sometimes you're going to be in an internship and it may not be something you want to do forever, and that's okay. But we do have interns that switch groups. So if you end up in a group, maybe it's not your jam, not something you want to pursue as a career, there are opportunities to move around within the lab so that you can find the area that interests you. And then with my office, the student programs office, we help put on a lot of the social events for you all. So every summer we have a student picnic, we have an ice cream social. We're in the process of hosting a hot chocolate social now in December. So we put on a lot of events so that students can get to know each other, meet other interns. And then we also put on a lot of professional development. So writing a resume, how to write a cover letter, things like that. That's those are all events that are going to be hosted by my office. And then we're in the process with you during onboarding. So if you have applied, you have questions, please reach out to me. If you're in the middle of onboarding, please reach out to me. We're all here with the same goal to make sure you're having a great experience, and we're here to help you. And I think that is all that I have. Is there any questions before we pass it on?
I think, Anna, there was one in the chat. Yeah. If you want to maybe reiterate it for everybody else that's on here.
I wanted to add, Angelica, that one of the things that past students shared is that once you apply, you go into a black box that the mentors need to fish from, right? So we points of contact are the ones that can help you find those connections, that mentor. When you apply, you are not automatically guaranteed an internship. A mentor needs to identify you and say, I want a Mairani, or I want Jessica, right? Without that connection, there is no internship. So it's really important that after you apply, you get in touch with Angelica and myself, and we will try to do our best. We cannot guarantee it, but we will try to do our best to understand what you're looking for, reach out our network, and find someone to be your mentor. And I'm sure that the same applies everywhere else. But Los Alamos, we have 12,000 employees, and we have lots of applications. And what we want to help you find those mentors and that internship.
So there's a question about if California-based students could apply to Los Alamos National Lab for undergraduate or just undergraduate, right? Not high school?
Just undergraduate, yeah.
Yeah, for the college level internships, yes.
Summer in New Mexico sounds great.
Yes, it's beautiful up there. And I had to add in this picture from the balloon fiestas because this is the last weekend. Unfortunately, I did not get to go this year, but the International Balloon Fiesta is a huge event in New Mexico, and I highly recommend checking that out if you're ever here in October.
It's a beautiful area. I should mention it's also pretty high up. The mesa's high up, so it can stay pretty cool during the summer, even if it's hot down in the valleys.
Yes.
So one thing one struggle we have that might not be the case in California is that we get a lot of students, and the town is not that big. So if you're coming from California to New Mexico, make sure you plan ahead of time to look for a place to rent, a room to rent. Many locals, we make space for the students in our homes, but it takes a village. So it's not San Francisco, it's not Berkeley. Los Alamos is really a small town. So think about it. Once you get your internship, you need to get straight to find a place to rent for the summer. It's not easy.
There's a question in the chat about what typically the time frame is for the summer internships. How many weeks at Los Alamos?
Typically, it's about 10 weeks for a
10
summer internship.
And those are generally around the time frame for most of the internships. Sometimes they're a little bit longer, sometimes a little bit shorter, but usually on the order of between 8 and 12 weeks, usually 10 weeks.
So it could be like June and July.
Mhm. Yeah, the onboarding process does take a while, so we try to do at least 10 weeks to make sure you're getting a great experience. But yeah, it could be June, July. Some students start in May, some students start in June and go into August. So there is some flexibility in terms of your start and end date, depending on your school schedule and things like that.
Exactly. That's important because some schools are on a quarter basis, and so they end late and start late. And so the flexibility is really, so that's an important thing, students, to check your school calendar versus the internship calendar.
All right, I will
Okay.
go ahead and pass on to Lloyd to go over Oak Ridge. Thank you all.
Back to me, yes. I'm actually in California, so Oak Ridge National Laboratory is in, anybody want to type in the chat? Do you know where Oak Ridge is? I'm not looking at it, so I'm just going to say the answer. It's in Tennessee. I haven't been to Tennessee, but I'd love to go look
It's
at that.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like that's the lab right there, surrounded by a lot of greenery. Okay. So Allison Melton is the contact at Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and she couldn't make it this morning. But they do have these two great programs for high schoolers. And oh, you have to be, again, a resident of East Tennessee. So you need to move there and then enroll in a high school and
Just
then
for
do
high
an
school.
internship. Okay. All right. But in case there are some students from Tennessee here, because there is SAGE over there, these are the requirements and a link to the actual program where you can apply. Oh. Wait, I think this is October 2023 is when the summer application opens.
Yeah.
It ends in February 2024. Okay.
We'll
And
fix that before
then-
we send them out.
Yeah, so it's a typo right there. So it's a next generation STEM internship program. I know that one of their students who finished SAGE camp attended this next generation pathways to computing and had a great time. She was a high school student, and it's 5 weeks during the summer. So if you're from Tennessee, click on these two links and have a great time in the summer internships for high school students. For undergraduates, so college, and again, we'll assume that you have already started college by the time you apply for this. These are the programs, and these slides will be shared with you all. And again, anybody in the country can apply for this, I assume. So, and here's the link to get more information about applying for a college level internship in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Correct me if I'm wrong, fellow SAGE volunteers. Is Oak Ridge National Lab the largest Department of Energy national lab in the country?
I'm actually not sure about that.
Yeah, but Los Alamos is huge, right? You said
Well,
12,000
I think
employees
Los Alamos
there.
might be
Oak Ridge
bigger,
is big
like-
too. Okay, so that is all I had to share about the Oak Ridge program for high school and college.
I think Los Alamos is twice as big as Oak Ridge.
Oh, so Los Alamos is bigger.
I
Okay,
think we are 12,000 and Oak Ridge, just a Google search said 6,000 employees,
Mhm.
but
I see.
I should
Alright.
mention, just all the national labs are somewhat unique. They're not, carbon cut. They're not just the same thing in different places. Like for instance, Fermilab is the high energy physics lab. Its primary mission is to do very high energy physics. Some are more broad based. Lawrence Livermore, Los Alamos, or National Nuclear Security Agency labs, and we have a lot. There's a lot more broader work that's done that are more defense based. But they each have their own strengths and things that you want to explore. You should look at each of them and talk to us, here at all these labs and find out if there's a particular thing that you're interested in, which strengths might be good to look at for the labs.
Great. So we're turning it over now to who's next? Slack.
Yes, hi.
Erin.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Erin Coley, and I am the manager of our talent acquisition teams, which include our intern programs. So I'm going to start with two questions. Oh, I already see. Oh no, I thought we already had answers in the chat. So the Linear Particle Accelerator, which was first dubbed Project M, what did Project M stand for? I see we got one response in the chat. Who else wants to make a guess? Oh, we got some more. Yep. Oh, I like that. Project Menlo Park. Nope. All right, a couple more. It is actually Project Monster. So it was a monster project. The accelerator was actually being built prior to the interstate. So Highway 280, they actually had to build the overramp prior to the full freeway being built because of our accelerator. And so how long is the accelerator? I'm like, I didn't just say it, did I?
Oh.
No,
Okay,
you
we have
didn't
one
say it.
guess. Okay, 5 miles, 2 miles, 2 miles. It is 2 miles. So our campus is in the heart of Silicon Valley. However, we have 426 acres. And so we also have deer, wildlife, coyotes, which scares one of my colleagues immensely, who was a citified person. So can we move to the next slide?
Yeah, but Erin, before I move to the next slide, monster is not necessarily bad, right?
Oh, no.
That's
It's just
scary.
because it was such a huge project for
Okay,
the
just
time.
the size, not the.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Just to
Yeah,
make
we don't
sure.
really have any monsters, on site at all. So that's good.
Oh, the next slide was the answer. Huh, I'm glad I didn't go there.
Yes. And so size-wise, we were just talking about how big other national labs are. We are one of the smallest, not physically, but in terms of individuals. We have around 1,700. Our internship programs are around 150. We had a little bit more than 150 last summer. You'll learn more about our broad projects in terms of the Department of Energy ones, but we also have one out of one of our directorates, which is the LINAC Coherent Light Source, or we always use the acronym LCLS internship program. We will start in November for that program. We do not have any high school programs. So all of our programs, you have to be at least 18. So I say we don't have any high school programs, but if you are 18, you can apply to all of our programs. And so with the LCLS program, you apply through a link on our career site, and then there is an additional questionnaire that you have to fill out. And I'm going to stress that, and this is one of the key things to reading an application very carefully, is you want to do both. Otherwise, you may find yourself not considered because you haven't fully completed the application. And then in addition to sort of our major projects and the Department of Energy projects, we do have quite a few what we consider, departments that want to have interns, and they are sometimes non-STEM career internships. In the summer, they are typically about 10 weeks. We are able to have Bay Area local and sometimes remote interns throughout the school year. And we, because of where we're physically located, housing is challenging, and more so because it's super expensive. But our internships, most of the programs have the opportunity to stay at in the Stanford dorms over the summer. And because of that, our internships often start a little later because Stanford is on a quarter system. And so a lot of our internships don't start until June, even though you may have finished your schooling sometime in May. I think that is all I have. Anyone have any questions before we go to our next speaker? I think Loy is going to pick back up and talk about SAGE.
Okay, just to put things in perspective, SLAC is about, did you say 1,200, 1,500 people,
No,
right?
1,700.
1,700. And that's how many internships Los Alamos has.
Yes.
Los Alamos is huge.
Yes.
So when Los Alamos first heard that that's how the size of SLAC was, I was in a meeting and somebody in Los Alamos said, "That's all you have at SLAB? That's how many summer interns we have just for the summer."
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It-
Okay, point taken.
We are small but mighty.
All but mighty, all right.
And a monster.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, I'm introducing myself now officially. I am Loy, for those who don't know me, from New Mexico, Fermilab, Oak Ridge, and Livermore and Berkeley. I am based at SLAC, but I am serving all of you from an internship perspective. So in addition to all the internships that you've heard the different labs share, I don't know if you noticed, there were 6 labs that shared, and that's where SAGE, the SAGE program is. We've also created a SAGE internship program. And what it is it picks up from your prior experience being in summer camp. You know the things that we talked about, the mission of SAGE, to bring more underrepresented genders into the STEM community. And so we have a vested interest to really help you go through that journey. We call it the SAGE journey. So in terms of the internship itself, it's very similar to the other internships, but we focus also on skill development and professional growth. Most of the other internships are focused on the project. That's why I saw there were project books, you can pick your project, stuff like that. And so with a SAGE internship, we add these additional dimensions, the skill that's important to the national lab, and then the professional growth sessions. You probably remember them from summer camp, growth mindset, collaboration, teamwork, but then now we take it at the higher level because now you're actually in the workplace and then applying these things and adding to that, to the skill set. Who is eligible? This is another advantage. These internships are reserved for you, reserved for SAGE and Summer Physics Camp from New Mexico and Hawaii, alumni of the program. But that also means that we don't have 1,000 internships available. So our budget's limited, so we only have a few. So my message today is please apply to the other internships at the different labs, whichever you're interested in, whichever location you're in, and plus the other general internships that GP will be talking about after me. Apply to those and let us know, let me know, and let your lab contact know. And then also let us know that you're also interested in a SAGE internship. That way you're covered, right? You apply to multiple internships and hope that you will find a match for one of those. In fact, look at that, 15 internships for summer and fall of 2024. So that's my message. The deadline will be April. And the main message, let your camp contact know that you're applying. And also let me know. The contact email addresses will be shared at the end of this presentation.
And Loy, can you specify, so is it just Slack and Los Alamos that are applicable for the SAGE ones, or Livermore or others can take SAGE interns?
Great question. So the Slack and Los Alamos, in 2023, those were the 2 that had SAGE internships. But for 2024, we're hoping that Berkeley will be able to do it, Livermore will be able to do it. So just stay in touch and we will keep you posted.
Okay, so yeah, so please apply to those. And just to dovetail off of what you said, Loy, there's a lot of opportunities out there. We're going to help you try and utilize opportunities that are already existing. I'll talk a little more about some of the external, the ones that are provided to all the labs. This one is specifically for you all, so you should also apply to this one, and this will help make it easier for us to find you an internship, because these are funds set aside for SAGE alumni. But as Loy mentioned, they're finite, and so we're hoping you guys can take advantage of some of the other ones, that we can reserve these for folks that may need a little extra push to be able to find a mentor that maybe wasn't matched with one of the other programs. So
I
let's
want
try
to
to
add,
expand the pool.
Yeah, in New Mexico, last summer, we had 24 interns that I know of that were past campers, so past students that attended the summer physics camp. Of those 24, 9 were supported through SAGE. So that gives you an idea. So if we find, some were paid through the project, some were paid through SAGE, and those who were part of SAGE, they had more to their internship than just the technical part. They had the technical part and also the other part about all these activities that Aloy mentioned.
By the way, I know that somebody asked earlier about the mentors, that are they SAGE or are they from the lab? All the labs train their mentors to do a good job with becoming a mentor. So whether the person is SAGE or not SAGE, we all get trained to be the best we can be as mentors. And so I wouldn't worry about that. Yeah. All right, to you, GP.
Okay, so thank you, Loy. So we've covered kind of specific internships that are somewhat unique to each of the labs. Each of the lab runs their own programs internally that's supported, and we gave a lot of the links in the previous slides. The Department of Energy, as we mentioned, there's actually 17 national labs. The ones we've talked about today are the 6 that participate in SAGE so far. I'm hoping more will start participating in the next few years, but so far there's just the 6. But there's 17 national labs all throughout the US. And the Department of Energy, which is what funds the national labs, have several different internship programs that are kind of umbrellas that you can apply to, that are general, that could be applied, that then you could use at different national labs. All these programs will offer a weekly stipend, and most offer campus housing support. And as we mentioned in the past, they go between kind of 8 and 10 weeks. And there's different focus areas. One is on community college internships. So maybe a quick, anybody want show of hands real quick or anything like that for those who are thinking about going to community college for a few years. It's a great way of doing it. And you can do internships through the community college while you're in community college. You don't have to be in a full 4-year program for that. That's specifically set up. And there's a link here to that community college internship program. There's also the Science Undergraduate Laboratory Internship, or SULI program. And that's a program that are for STEM majors. So you want to be a STEM major, ages 18 years or older. It's supported for the Department of Energy. There's a resume, transcript, and recommendation letters that are needed. There's a minimum GPA 3.0, and you need to be a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. The application period is from October 17th of this year, so coming up quick. That's when it opens. It doesn't close till January 9th, so you haven't missed the boat yet. But I would, if that's something you're interested in, please take a look at it. These are all for students that are undergraduates. And then there's also an Oak Ridge Institute for Science Education, the AURA program. That's one that is hosted out of there, but I think it's very general. Maybe if I could show my screen real quick, I can just show you what it looks like. Let me share here. This is the SULI program. If you go to their website, I'm going to bring that up. Folks can see that there. So it's just, there's a link, science OSTI at gov. And that is where a lot of the STEM majors, you can just do the application process here. We will, if you want to reach out to us and ask us questions about it, please do. There's information on the dates and the process for it. But this is an internship which, if you get it, you can use it for different national labs, not necessarily just the ones of the 6 here that we would love to see you. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. This is just one example. The community college one is here as well. They're on the same Department of Energy website. This is for, of course, community college students. All right. Does anybody else? I'm going to stop sharing and let Daniela or Aloy share again. Anybody else want to add to that?
There might be some questions, GP.
Yes. Let's see.
Can I just add a couple of things?
Please,
This is Aaron from Slack. I wanted to let everyone know that you can have been a CCI intern and then a SULI intern. You can actually be a SULI intern for 2 years. So it's not a one-time and then you don't have another opportunity. And with that, you can always try one lab, say maybe you want to come to Slack. And if you want to stay Bay Area, then maybe you can go to Livermore or Berkeley the next year. So you have options there. You get to pick which is your top choice, and then also which is your second choice.
That's a great point. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate that.
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
SULI, when you apply to SULI via the Department of Energy website that GP shared, how many labs can you say I'm open to going to any lab?
That's a good question, actually. I think I would have to read through the list. I think the application process, you can choose several of them, but maybe others that have more experience with the SULI program.
I believe
Aaron's
it's
not
3.
three.
You could pick
Okay.
your top 3 labs.
Top 3 labs. There you go.
Oh, thank
And
you.
feel free to reach out to us and ask, this is things I'm interested in. What would you advise me to do? We're here to help you through this whole process. Okay, a question here. Are there any other in-person or virtual high school programs available for any of the labs besides internships? It's a great question. Maybe we could start with Slack. Is there anything that are high school programs that maybe not internships?
So we do not have a huge high school. Other national labs do. So I'd want, other folks to speak to it. Most national labs do participate in what's called a science bowl that's funded through Department of Energy. So they have one at the middle school and also high school levels. So that is something that we do participate. We do have a wide variety of lectures and education series, including tours. So if you happen to be in the Bay Area, you can sign up for one of the tours to come and check out Slack.
Excellent. Yeah, we do participate in the Science Bowl. Is a lot of fun. We work with Sandia across the street. We have Sandia Livermore that we work with for our local Science Bowl. It's a lot of, for those that haven't participated, maybe reach out to your high school and see if there's a Science Bowl team or one that you can join. It's a fun kind of DOE sponsored quiz program. Yes, and then Joanna put in the chat, Livermore has a biotech summer experience and the STEM of smartphones. So please see our website. Any of the other labs want to respond to that question about other programs for high school?
Lionel has had a wildfire and simulation camp that's been virtual. We're trying to figure whether or not that's going to stay virtual, but we'll post information on our website once we have that planned.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see. Do we want to open up for? Are we in the Q&A session now? Loy and okay, so let's open up for any other questions, open questions for folks, either in the chat. Thank you. This is the direct links to all the student programs. We're going to be sending these slides out to everybody, so you don't have to take a screenshot now if you don't want to, but this is the list as well as the contacts. This POC is point of contact. So feel free to reach out to anybody here if they have any questions about any of the programs, and we'd be happy to respond or put you in touch with the people that would be best able to help you. So we're really here for you. I mean, this is one of the SAGE missions that we have here, is to help guide you guys along this process. And if you have follow-up questions on it, please feel free. So let's see, put more stuff in the
did
chat.
we mention the MSSIP?
You're right. We have not mentioned the MSSIPP. So I did have that pulled up too. That's an NNSA sponsored program. Let me actually,
I put the link on the chat. This is for minority serving institutions.
Thank you, Anna. Yes.
So what I learned recently, I didn't know. If you go to that website, you can check if you're a college student, right? You can check if your college qualifies as a minority serving institution. Turns out that a lot of the New Mexico colleges are minority serving institutions, and I didn't know that. So if you go to the website that I put in the link, and maybe someone else can also help, you apply for that MSSIP internship grant, right? And then that gets you, NNSA pays for your internship at the laboratory. So again, it makes it even easier for you to get an internship if you qualify for those, because remember the early bird gets the worm, right? So if the pond is smaller, it's easier for you to be fished.
Yeah, the application for that process is coming up very quick, though, it looks like. So October 22nd. But this is a wide range of minority serving institutions, tribal colleges, others. So please reach out to us quickly if this is something you're interested in. It's sponsored by the National Nuclear Security Agency, and we'd love to help get you into that program as well. Thanks for pointing that out, Anna.
So I'm going to just piggyback on this and then mention, you know, for folks who are not in a location where there is a national lab or want to go elsewhere, this program, the SULI program, the CCI program, do pay for travel for you to go to the national lab of your choice. So there are, you know, certain guidelines and restrictions when you look at the information. They have frequently asked questions, and they have what is included for like the SULI program, the CCI program, et cetera. But most of those programs do provide travel, so you don't have to stay local.
Wait, you just said travel's covered, there's housing allowance, there's a stipend. Why shouldn't I apply?
Exactly.
Now, I would be remiss also, we've been focusing everybody coming here to the national labs. You know, there are university summer programs as well, research experience for undergraduate programs. That's one example I did at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute when I was an undergraduate. So those are also options. And we of course would love to see you at national labs, but there's a lot of great schools out there that have programs as well. So cast a wide net and look where you want to go. Okay, are there any other questions? We're kind of coming up to the end of the session. Oh, we have a question here from yeah, please.
I have a quick question. So I go to University of Santa Barbara, UC, and so like all my lectures are like hundreds of students. Like getting a letter of rec from a professor is almost impossible, or a personal letter. And my sections are like by TAs, so it's not technically a professor. Would I be able to get like a letter of rec from a high school teacher, or like is there another option to get like a actual like adequate letter of rec through like a college professor or something like that you would recommend?
That's a good question. I would depend, you know, if you have TAs that are graduate students, those are also sometimes useful to get as well. High school teachers that know you well would, I think, still be considered. Other, you know, maybe other people online here might have better recommendations for that.
Your SAGE points of contact and
Yes.
or the people who you've worked with, those are great individuals as well to get letters of recommendation.
Yeah, for example, which SAGE camp were you in? Like,
It was a couple years ago. I was part of the online program. My
That's
program
fine.
got put online after I applied. So yeah, I did a lot of I had like a lot of Zoom classes and like small group breakout meetings. But
I do remember
I
you,
think
Kaya, you were in a virtual camp, right?
yeah. I forget, that was 2 or 3 years ago.
Right, and I think it was the combined Berkeley SLAP.
Yeah, it was with a bunch of different programs.
There were 96 of you, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, there was a lot.
We were all surprised by the pandemic, right? But thank you for coming here today. Yeah, and there are
Thank
other,
you,
by the way,
yeah.
there are other SAGE alumni at UC Santa Barbara.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah, maybe I'll try to reach out to them as well.
I'll
That'd be cool.
connect.
Yeah,
with them.
yeah, maybe connect with Loy. And but as far as your specific question goes, I think finding somebody who you think can just write a letter for you. A professor is always, you know, nice, but it doesn't have to be a professor. You know, if it's a graduate student that you think knows you well enough to write, you know, a lot of the letters, in my opinion, having reviewed letters, I prefer things that are, I don't really care so much about the, you know, the qualifications. I mean, it can't be like your best friend or something like that, but you know, if they have some qualifications, but they can write with specificity about you, those are ones that make more of an impact, because they can, you know, if you have a professor that doesn't know you very well, they're just gonna be very generic, and that's hard to, you know, give much information. So I'd rather have somebody who, you know, maybe they're a graduate student or somebody else in a slightly more technical role that can speak to what, you know, that knows you better. Those usually go a lot further.
Okay, thank you.
Great question. Oh no, we lost Anna. Computer
I'm
decided
back.
to reboot.
My
Oh,
computer
good.
decided to reboot.
I
Just
understand.
now.
It's Saturday. They like to do that.
Yeah. One thing that I think you mentioned it earlier, and I don't know if you mentioned it while I was gone, but if you ask someone for a reference letter, please, for the love of God, tell them in advance. Okay, give them your CV, what you have been doing for the last 2 years. I mean, I get requests for reference letters and I haven't seen the student. I don't know what the student is applying for. We want to help you, but you need to make it easy for us to help you. Don't a phone call in the dark when I'm working from someone else asking me about you is not useful to you if I don't know that phone call is coming.
That's actually really a point. I mean, one thing you want to make sure that whoever you're asking for a letter on knows what the deadline for that letter is, and that you send what I find useful is to send them an email. Hey, especially if you haven't talked to them in a little while, this is what we worked on together. You can kind of prep them so that because it's easier for them to write. Remind them that this is what you worked on, what you're interested in. Even just you kind of showing passion for what you're applying to can help them kind of write the letter. You can just remind them, what you worked on with them. Try to make it easy for them. And usually if you do that, you'll get the letter much quicker too. Okay, we're kind of coming up to the end of the hour. Maybe Lloyd, you want to show the kind of the last slide on, or Danielle, the last slide on staying connected with Sage, because we do want to make sure you guys follow us. You are part of the Sage community, as we've mentioned. So please follow us on the social media. At Sage Camp, Sage S Camp, I should say, Sage S Camp there. Share news with each other. Definitely support each other. This is a community. We want you guys all to work well together. If there's any questions at all about anything, please info at mysagejourney.org. That goes to you, Loy, right? It comes to us through Loy. And so please reach out to us individually through the contacts. We'll be providing the slides, and this YouTube will be up online as well. And there'll be a link there. Are there any other remaining questions? We have another minute left or so.
I want to add, if you apply for a SULI, if you get a MSSIP, if you get any time of other, the difference is these internships already come with funds. So the only thing we need to do is to find you a mentor. If you apply for a generic laboratory internship, not only we have to find you the mentor, but the mentor has to have the funds.
Yes.
So make it easy to yourself.
Higher bar.
It's a higher bar, right? So try to apply to all sorts of internships if you qualify. MSSIP, then you will come to Los Alamos with already your pot of money. And what we have to do is to help you find a mentor. If you apply for a generic internship at Los Alamos, we have to find you both. Sometimes it's going to be the project. As I said, in Los Alamos, 24 students were interns and 9 were Sage. The other ones were paid by the project. So not only we had to find a mentor, but we had to find a mentor with money.
That's a great point, Anna. Thank you. Okay, so with that, we're kind of at the end of it's 12 now here in California. So thank you everybody for coming. This was a really fun session. Again, please feel free to reach out. We love having you here. I think there'll be an announcement for the next Sage Live event. I don't know if Danielle or Sage want to mention the next Sage Live that'll be happening in a month or so.
We're not ready to announce it right now. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Lloyd. Lloyd, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll stay connected. In fact, I was hoping that social media slide will show up again. Danny, can you tell us how the slides and the video recording will be shared with everyone?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I will share that with you all next week in an email as you got this Zoom link. And I will include the slides for the presentation as well and the link for the recording. So you can go over again. And you can always contact us again if you have any questions.
Okay. Thank you so much for everybody. Thank you. Have a great rest of your weekend. And look forward to seeing you on the next Sage Live events and hopefully on an internship at some point.